Hello. Did they announce my stream? Did you guys get updates that I'm streaming? Because usually people join a lot faster than this. Uh, we're going to talk about why they did it. But I'm also making another video. It's actually made. It's on my secondary channel. It just takes a while to monetize, and then I'll upload it. And oh wow, thank you, Luke Henry. I appreciate that. We're going to talk about what on earth is this? Let me show you my screen so you guys can see what is transpiring here. What is going on? Oh, the image. Okay. What is this? The Twisted and the Twilight. Total Warhammer 2. How much DLC are they milking from this game at this point? This is what I want to know. I mean, don't get me wrong, the DLC looks gorgeous. But aren't they supposed to make Total Warhammer 3? Why is this still a thing? How much can they milk out of this game? It's sad. It's like a skinny cow. It's like a cow that is just skin and bones, and you see the corporation going towards that cow with 6 buckets, ready to milk it. It's like you're not going to get that much milk, but it seems that the corporation has a way. They're going to milk that franchise for all it's worth. People appreciate that I send them down to the VTube rabbit hole. No problem. And I should add more of them in This Week is Stupid. It's just that I personally stopped following the VTubers for a while because I need to follow politics and I need to follow other things. By the way, let me tell you a funny story, okay? So I got my girlfriend to play video games, right? She's playing Uncharted 4, and it's really funny. Like, my girlfriend doesn't watch my channel, okay? Like, my girlfriend knows nothing about politics. She knows absolutely nothing about, especially American politics. She's like just the classic conservative type woman, right? And, she never played PlayStation games before, and I got her to play Uncharted 4. And yesterday, she reached this scene where Nathan Drake, which is this pretty beefy looking guy. I mean, look let me see if I can find a picture with him. Like, I mean, this is the kind of guy that you would want on your side in a street fight. He is like a very fit gentleman. It looks like a person that's working out. I mean, this is the type of guy that if he were to punch me and 3 other people were standing around me, like the people standing around me would feel it as well. Like his punches do AoE damage. And I know, like there are other male characters in video games that are stronger than Nate, and you can say, well, like for example, this guy looks stronger or whatever. And like, okay, fine. But like what I'm trying to say is that Nathan Drake is peak human condition. Like he is a guy that even when compared to other guys, he would be able to hold his own. So my girlfriend reaches this scene where this black chica, which I believe is like the negative character, Nadine, right? She just beats the living shit. Like she mops the floor with Nathan. She pushes him around the room and she just like rams him head first in a bookcase and then pushes him away and my girlfriend just didn't understand. It's like, why isn't he fighting back? How do I explain this to the missus? Like how can I explain to the lady? It's like, because this is like what she didn't get. It's like, why is a woman beating me? Like that was the question that she asked me. Why is a woman managing to beat Nathan Drake? I mean, if she had a weapon, if she had a melee weapon, like you'd understand, right? Like if she had a crowbar or if she had like a pistol or something, like yeah, okay, fine. Rafaman, if you have a succubus, it's game over, man. Like it's game over. But anyway, right? So she really didn't understand, and I was like laughing because I also didn't know how to explain it to them. And I came up with, it's like, look, it's from California. It's like this weird place in America where they make video games, and they don't know how to make strong women because it's just men there, and they don't understand femininity. So the only way they know how to make a strong woman is by beating a man. You know, long gone are the days where you would have a woman like Cersei from the Game of Thrones, the books, not the actual TV show. But in the books, Cersei is one of the most powerful women in Westeros, and she's always behind the scene manipulating people, pulling the strings. I mean, she's incredibly powerful. And she never gets caught because she's very smart. Right? So she uses her intelligence in order to maneuver every single situation to her advantage. But in video games, unless a woman just beats up a guy, and it's not really like a woman beats up a guy like that. That can happen, you know, even in real life. I used to have this neighbor, which would come home drunk, and the wife would beat the shit out of him every single time because I heard it because the walls were very thin, so I could hear the domestic abuse happening in the other room. But I'm not saying it can't happen. But when you look at someone like Nathan Drake, right, like his right arm is so thick that is the size of Nadine's leg, and you're willing to tell me that, like, because here's the thing, right? Anyone, and this is what I think these game developers never got into a street scuffle, all right? Like, they didn't grow up in a dangerous neighborhood or anything. They didn't grow up in poverty where eventually you get into an altercation when you're a teenager, right? Like, they didn't get through that. And I'm telling you, if someone is nudely armed, okay, like if someone is trying to pick a fight with someone way out of their league, do you know what happens? The guy that's out of their league doesn't even need to block the punches. Like, he can just sit with his hands behind their back, and the other person can just punch and kick, and he will feel nothing. In fact, it's kind of funny. Like, I remember my ex was doing this, you know, like she would get angry and she would try to hit me or something. She would try to playfully hit me, but her hand would hurt. Like, literally, her hand would hurt as she punched me in the shoulder. Like, it's like, ow, 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 you know, because like, Gus. By the way, Gus is a really nice actor from the Breaking Bad series. I don't know if should I read this? I think it's safe for the terms of service. Gus says Black Power and raised 3 yellow fists. Okay, Gus. You know, thank you for the donation. Don't know what it means, but I thank you nonetheless. Who would be good to play Nathan Drake in a movie? You know what's the sad thing? Like, I don't even know the actors nowadays. I mean, it used to be when there were a lot of famous actors. Now, I don't watch movies that much, to be honest. But okay, like, let's think a little bit. Van Damme in his prime time would have been a good thing. I don't know. It's kind of difficult now that I think about it. Who would play? You know what? Johnny Depp. I mean, the guy's getting. Oh yeah, that guy. You know who? Like Leon, the guy who played the guy who played in Pirates of the Caribbean, the first movies. Yeah, the one that became the. Yeah, that's the guy that would probably be good. And the one who played Legolas or Aragorn. Yeah, those could pull off a Nathan Drake. How come Belle Delphine is banned but Vosh isn't? Okay, I'll talk about it. Just give me a second to open the window. Getting a little bit hot in here, so yeah. So I'll tell you what I think about Belle Delphine. Alright? In my opinion, and I made a video about this, like you're going to get a little bit of a spoiler if you're watching it. In my opinion, Belle Delphine is actually a genius. I'm not even kidding. Like, if I had a corporation, if I had a company, I would hire Belle Delphine as the head of my marketing department. I mean, that woman can sell bathwater, and I'm not even making a joke here. Like, she managed to sell bathwater to people, alright? That woman can sell oppression to communism. That woman can sell Google Stadia. Like, all she has to do is to make a poster saying that she rubbed her titties on Google Stadia products, and people will buy that. You know, like if she puts an autograph of Belle Delphine on Google, people will buy that. She's not overrated, man. Like here's the problem. This is the core issue of our capitalist society. Okay, you have talented people like Belle Delphine that know how to market and know how to sell a product. It's just proven. Like you are giving to a person, a virgin, right? You're giving them your bath water. Like that guarantees that the virgin will stay a virgin for as long as he keeps that trinket in his house. Like, do you know what that means? Imagine if you are a guy that is so desperate, you actually want to purchase that. And one day the stars align. One day the blue moon is on the sky. And a girl agrees to visit your abode. Like a woman, okay? A member of the opposite sex wants to visit your home. And she finds the bath water. Now, I would like to be a fly on the wall and hear that conversation. Like, how is the virgin guy going to justify his purchase to that lady? It's very difficult, right? So no, like, I think any woman, like there are women that will put up with guys that have no self-esteem. There are women that will put up with very weak men. Like that can happen, okay? But the most unlikely thing, the most unlikely thing is for a woman to put up with a creepy pervert. Like if you actually have some other girl's bathwater in your house, that is level of creepy pervertness that is very difficult to stomach by most sane adult women. So yeah, I mean, like, by purchasing that, it just completely takes you out of the gene pool for as long as you have it. Like, that is the virginity protector shield that works 24/7, right? And yet people bought it. Like, yet she managed to sell the bathwater in a couple of, I don't even know if it's hours. I think it's minutes. It was completely sold off, right? This woman knows how to sell shit. Like, she's got a skill. She can market. She knows how to get an audience. She knows how to sell a product. In a perfect society, this woman would be promoted and working at a company as a marketing team. But you know why she doesn't? It's because nowadays, people in big corporations, they hire HR, okay? They hire this human resource bullshit. And what HR likes to do is to hire people that have the pedigree, that have the certification, that have the license. Oh, I got a degree in economics. So I got a degree from Harvard, all right? When you hire these people, first of all, they're very expensive to hire because these people are going to demand more money from you just because they have that degree. So once you hire them, most of them don't even know how to do the job from day one. They need training. Like, the company now needs to spend money to teach these people that they're already paying a lot for on how to pull the ropes. And you know what? I noticed that a lot of people who do hirings, they told me the same. These university graduates that manage to get through a university, they really don't know how to think for themselves. Like, you need to handhold them constantly. You need to show them the ropes because they don't have a lot of creativity. They don't really know how to work out problems. So they cost a lot. They're not very skilled, most of them. And you also need to invest into them in training, right? And then you have other people like Belle Delphine, and I'm guaranteeing to you, like, this woman would come and work for a big corporation as head of a marketing department for a lot less than you would manage to hire someone with an education. And I'm willing to bet, like, I am willing to put money on this, that Belle Delphine can market shit. Like, she would be able to sell a lot more products regardless of the company that she goes to. Like, imagine, just imagine if Marvel would hire her and you would have like a YouTube channel with her like talking about how much she likes a new comic. And it's like, oh god, I really love this comic, you guys. And like, my favorite part is when Thor fights with Wolverine, and it's so beautiful. And yeah, like, look, why don't you guys buy the comic, and in the next video we can meet in the chat and we can talk about it. Like, can you imagine? Like, no, seriously, like, that would sell, but it doesn't work now. Because now the entire culture, the entire American system is about hiring people with a pedigree, hiring people that have done a university, and hiring the correct people, because you see, it's not enough to hire the best person for the job. Now you need to hire the person with the correct opinions and the correct publicity surrounding them. Oh, you can't hire someone like Belle Delphine. I mean, oh, she's problematic. And like, oh, look, she's saying all of these things that we don't agree with. It's like, how can you possibly hire her? I'm willing to put money Belle having a very good education. Like, man, I don't know what she studies. Like, maybe she does have a good education, but it doesn't really matter. Like, I am looking at the results. I am looking at what she actually performed, right? She managed to sell something that no one would buy. And it's not only that, okay, it's not only that she sold the bathwater that's interesting, is the concept in it of itself. Like, the idea of selling bathwater. Do you know how much she did with that? She probably did around $40,000. Assuming she actually sold an entire bathtub worth of water. Because that's what people on the internet were looking at. It's like, okay, how much is one of those little cans that she puts up versus how much water is in one of those tubs? And they did a calculus and they found out. Yeah. Belle could sell a Trump election victory to CNN. Okay, maybe Belle wouldn't be able to be that far, all right? Like, maybe Belle Delphine wouldn't be able to sell a Trump election victory to CNN. I think that's a little bit too far. But like, no, like, seriously, you know, like, this woman has talent. Like, she would actually be able to promote a lot of stuff. If I was an independent video game developer or something like that, I would hire one of these ladies. Like, you're a fool not to. Honestly, it's something that has worked throughout human history. I mean, look at cars. All of the cars have sexy ladies next to them. Why is that? You're not getting the sexy lady if you buy the car. It's just something that attracts the viewer. It puts eyeballs and it eventually actually sells the product. It is sad to see. And the reason I think Belle Delphine got banned, alright, because we don't know why she got banned. I mean, no one knows. I looked high and low. I searched the entire internet. Why did she get banned? I mean, on her channel, it says that she got banned for either repeated sexual nudity content or gross violation of sexual nudity content. Now, if it's a gross violation, I think I would have heard about it, because most people, like, she's got millions of people watching her channel. If she had some gross violation, it would be all over the internet by now. You know, like, people would just screen cap it, they would share it, like, we would know. So I don't think it's a gross violation. I think it's one of those quote-unquote multiple violations, which shows the lack of transparency on this platform. In other words, you can upload the video today, and it's fine. You know, the terms of service is perfectly okay with it. But in a couple of months or years, retroactively is not fine. And then they ban your channel because you uploaded something that at the time was okay. Maybe it's that. I don't know. Like, that's the problem. This is why it frustrates me. Because the platform is not transparent. It's very opaque, and it's opaque by design. You know, like, YouTube constantly says, oh, if we were to allow people to know the rules, and we were to allow people to know what exactly gets them banned, then people would find ways to circumvent the ban. And I'm like, can you imagine a society that runs that like that? Can you imagine if a government would have laws that are ambiguous, because if the laws were made clear, then people would find ways around them? Like, that's madness. That is insane. Of course they have a right to do it, but let's be honest, that's just so that they can have more power and ban people arbitrarily. At this point, I don't even know why there are terms of service. They should be like, you got banned because we want you to fuck off. Like, literally. And then it would be even less complaints. It would be like, YouTube doesn't like you. That's why you got banned. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't sell you my bathwater, Stephen Miller. I would sell Romanian grave dirt. But I think, like, that would be a lot of hassle. You know, it's kind of funny if I were to sell Romanian grave dirt. First of all, it would be creepy because I would have to go into the graveyard with a shovel, right? Like, I wouldn't lie to people. If I were to sell grave dirt, I would sell grave dirt. There's probably places where you can dig a little bit and no one would be upset. But I think, like, it would be so difficult because you would now need to understand Romania is a very bureaucratic nation, so you would have to Besides the fact that you'd have to pay many taxes, you'd probably have to justify like what are you doing and have to explain and making sure that people aren't going to eat that stuff. Yeah. Can you imagine buying a car and the pedals change what they do every time you start the car? Yeah, but like at least that would be easy because like you would just start the car and you'd know that the pedals change and you like be able to figure it out in a couple of seconds which is which. It would be like a better analogy is like if the pedals change when you're speeding. Like you drive with 50 kilometers an hour and all of a sudden the pedals change. That would be a little bit more fucked up. Should I marry Tim Pool for U.S. citizenship? Yeah, but unfortunately I already have a fiance. Unless we all convert to Islam, then maybe I can get Tim Pool in the family, and then we can all get American citizenship. I never understood this. It's like, why don't they push for multiple marriage at this point? I mean, they push for a lot of bizarre stuff. Why not push for, being able to marry 3 or 4 people? I mean, it's kind of funny because in my country, it's kind of legal in a way. I mean, if you're a Mormon or a Muslim and you're coming from abroad, so let's say a sheikh, a businessman comes from Qatar and he brings his 5 wives here, right? And he has a car crash, then all of his wives are allowed to visit him in the hospital as family. So yeah. You want me to sell you Islam? I mean, I don't know. Like, I think if I was in Britain, I would probably convert for the perks. I mean, people all of a sudden respect your beliefs, and no one is going to question your beliefs, right? You get to marry 2 or 3 women if you want. And then the thing in Britain, from what I understand, is that Muslims actually look out for each other. Like, they genuinely try to help each other out. Like, if you're a young lad and you need a job, the community provides. If you're a young lad and you can't get a girl to date you, then the community is going to provide several ladies that you can date. It's like that's what I heard. And this is like from other Muslims that were at med school. Like, they told me that their community is a lot more tightly knit and they try to help each other out whatever they need to. So yeah, I mean, if I was in a country like Britain or in a place that's a lot more atheistic now, I would definitely go for a religion that has a sense of community and belonging. Like, that's what I would go for. Here in Romania, I would probably go for evangelicals for the same reason. Like, Orthodox Christians don't really help each other out that much. It's more like a religion where everyone is expected to adhere to, but there's not that of a tight community. So yeah. That could never happen in the West. What do you mean about? Like, what couldn't happen in the West? Polygamy benefits women the most. I'm not sure about that. Like, man, I don't think polygamy is actually a good idea if you think about it, because just having another person in the household is a difficult experience, because obviously all the costs go higher. Like, you need to buy more food, you need to pay for more electricity, so on and so forth. Like, having 2 people in a household, Jesus fucking Christ. And then it's like the problem, like, the chance of arguments increases. I mean, imagine, a lot of couples are struggling and they have to go to marriage counsel or whatnot because they're arguing all the time. Now imagine another person in the equation. Though, to be honest, like, maybe it's the opposite, like, maybe if there's 3 people rather than 2, there's fewer arguments. I don't know. European men helping each other get laid as a culture. That's not what I'm talking about, okay? Like, there's a difference between companionship and getting laid. What I'm talking about is like, all right, well, let's say you're 24 and you're still a virgin, right? Like, you don't know any girl in your social circle. They will try to help you out in the sense, it's like, yeah, like, why don't you come and meet my cousin? Or, why don't you try and meet this girl? I mean, she's nice. and you get to talk with her, you get to date her, and yeah, maybe. I mean, this is how it used to be before social media. This is how it used to be before dating websites. You just have to ask your circle of friends if they happen to know a girl that's available, or you would be invited at a party and you would meet a girl that's single, and that's how it used to be. That's how hookup culture used to be. Either that or going to a bar, if you are manly enough. Um, GTA 5 Pros Manage Console works. Man, I haven't played that game in a while. Yeah, well, what did you guys think of Blood Rain? I mean, I got really nostalgic playing Blood Rain. I realized that even though it has really bad graphics and even though it looks like a PlayStation 2 game, which, if I'm not mistaken, probably is, um, but it made me feel nostalgic because there's something to that game that's lost now. You don't get to experience that type of games anymore. And I think it's really upsetting that it has happened. I mean, let me show you what California is doing. And you guys probably know about this, but yeah. So this is how official Marvel comics look like nowadays. These are drawn by. So this is Captain Marvel, okay? This is how they're drawing her. These are the best artists in the business. These are and because it's not about the story anymore. It's not about the art style. It's not about any quality control. It's literally just the message. As long as the message is being promoted, then they're going to publish the comic. Um, and then they're part of this idea that art is objective. Like, you can't criticize art in a negative way, because if you say dude, this looks bad, then they will say, well, that's just your opinion. But at the same time, they're the ones that in New York Times will give oh my god, this new comic is the bestest ever. And wouldn't that be the same? Well, it's just their opinion. Because I know this is and if you go at a forum, a video gaming forum, a comic book forum, or anything you want, and this is just only in the West, all right? If you go on a place where Japanese people or German people are, you're going to find that's not their opinion. But what I'm trying to say is that when someone will criticize a game like Gone Home or The Last of Us, or a comic that looks like this, they'll always say, well, that's just your opinion, that's just your you're not saying something objective here. But when someone praises the same thing, they all agree. It's oh no, yeah, The Last of Us, oh yeah, very good game, very good, very good. And I'm okay, but hold on a little bit. Aren't you being a little bit hypocritical? You can't say that art is subjective, and that anything that someone says negative is their opinion. But whenever someone says something positive, you're going to act like this is representative of the larger audience. And you notice the same thing what they do with women here, and again, this is how they draw female characters now. Broad shoulders, strong jawlines, very very masculine features. Most of the time they get short hair as well. And plus, it's not just about this. It's also the quality of the drawing that's just gone to shit. And from what I understand from people that still buy the comic books, the quality of the pages themselves is bad. You get to see the ink coming out. The pages, they rip a lot, they tear a lot easier. And most of the comic books have fewer pages than they used to have a couple of years ago and are more expensive. Now, the reason for this is obvious. When you hire all of these wokarati, these people that talk about politics more than CNN anchors, they're very strong, raging bigots, very difficult to work with. And not only that, they know that they don't have talent, so the first thing they do when they're in a company is that they try to get the people with talent fired. Because they know their job is on the line. They know that they don't belong there. So they're going to try to get the people fired. And there's another explanation for this, and I saw this in real life. When you have actual people with talent, when you have someone that actually knows what they're doing in a particular field, they're going to be very arrogant and disrespectful towards the people that don't know what they're doing. And I've seen this in every single aspect of human life, from video games like World of Warcraft to working at KFC to working in a hospital. Okay? The doctors that actually knew what they were doing, they were very frustrated when they had to deal with another doctor that clearly didn't know what he was doing there. And they usually talk down. They usually operate in a sarcastic manner. They're usually disrespectful towards the newbie. I mean, towards the newbie, not so much, because at least they understand that the guy is starting up. But like, if you're a doctor that has been working there for 2 or 3 years and you still don't know the ropes, then they're not going to have any patience with you, right? And this is in every industry. The people that are really good at what they do, they're also going to come out as major dicks towards the people that should know what they're doing. And usually it's these people that get in trouble with HR, right? Because the doctor that has been there and knows what he's doing is going to tell to some guy that doesn't know the ropes, is going to tell, like, what are you doing here? Why are you here? Like, if you don't know how to treat this, why have you even finished med school? Like, you're going to kill someone. You do realize this. Like, you are eventually going to murder someone, right? And when they speak like this to the new guy, the new guy is going to go to the HR. It's going to go like, oh my God, harassment, bullying, blah, 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 blah. Even though, from the hospital point of view, like, they're trying to treat people, right? Like, the doctor that is being an asshole to his colleagues is actually the doctor that is going to heal the most amount of people. And he is going to help the patients out more than the snowflake that can't take some shit talking. We should motivate him, by the way. Like, it should actually get it. It's like, oh, you know what? I don't want people to talk like me like that. I'm going to realize I made a mistake and I'm going to learn better. But no, right? So the HR is going to be like, oh, we're trying to create here an inclusive and happy work environment and blah, 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 blah. And eventually they're going to lay off the good doctor. And in this case, at Marvel Comics, they're going to lay off the good writer. And you're going to remain with the people that create a very pleasant work environment but can't draw for shit. Because drawing for shit doesn't seem to be part of the reason why you even get a job at Marvel. So it's coming to the point where the Japanese, the freaking Japanese, are doing comic books better than the Americans. This is shameful. The Americans invented Captain Marvel. They should be the ones doing the... And by the way, this isn't even that good. Like, back when the Americans were doing Captain Marvel properly, it looked better than this. If you can't get money from some motherfucker on the other end of a computer watching you do R stuff, congratulations, you're a winner. Your dear friend Jim. When did this say this? I'm sorry, Nero. I don't remember Jim saying this. Random question. Did you do a medical residency after med school? If so, what was in? So after I finished med school, I did the residency exam and I did pass in order to get a microbiology position. And I worked there for a couple of months as a microbiologist. And then I wanted to change my field from microbiology to internal medicine, like general physician. I didn't like microbiology for 2 reasons. Number 1, it was very boring. And number 2, you didn't get to see the patient that much. Believe it or not, like, at first I didn't want to see the patient because I was just, I have to put up with the customer. But then I realized that I kind of miss it. Like, I miss talking to the old lady and learning her story and trying to provide some comfort. So yeah, I mean, I switched, but at the time when I was doing this, I was paid $300 per month. And I also had to be on call 3 to 4 times a month, which means going to work at 7 a.m. and sitting until the next day to 4 p.m., sometimes even 5. And YouTube was kicking off. I was doing a lot better here. And I said, you know what, like, if I'm going to invest more in my YouTube channel, I can actually earn more by staying on YouTube. Yeah. So, I don't know. V would be a terrible doctor. I mean, you've never seen me practice. I actually gave some really good diagnosis just by looking at people without any imagery. There was a colleague of mine, and he had like major chest pains. He came to school and he could barely function. Like he had this massive pain over here, and at the over the right thorax, and I was like, pulmonary embolism. You know, like that. That's what I told him. It's like, come on, fuck off, V. You know, like fuck off. What do you mean pulmonary embolism? I'm a young guy. There's no way I can have pulmonary embolism and blah blah blah. He goes, gets a computer imagery done, pulmonary embolism. It was actually like, I even laughed so much about it because I said, you know what? I'm going to use your case at the next Congress. And he was like, V, don't you dare. Don't you fucking dare. Do you know what I did? I presented his case at the next Congress meeting. It was like these Congress groups where students were gathering, and you could present a case study over something that was bizarre or out of normal. And yeah, I mean, for a 20, I think he was like 22, 23-year-old man getting a pulmonary embolism, that's like really rare. I mean, he was a smoker, but it's still like it wouldn't justify it. So he was an anomaly. What does that mean? It means when you have a blood clot and it clogs one of the pulmonary arteries, so the blood doesn't circulate properly, and it can be fatal, especially if it's not detected in time. But what's worse is that the pain is unbearable. So yeah, I mean, I had like a lot of diagnoses like these where I would just call them, I mean, it's not always fun when you're right. Take my money. Been following you for like 4 years, and even though I'm not here a lot, I love how consistent you are with what you do. Well, thank you, Nero. I appreciate that. You know, it actually feels nice when I hear someone say, "Oh yeah, I've been following you since you had 1,000 subscribers and blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Oh wow," you know, it kind of makes me feel good that I'm bringing happiness into people's life. Thoughts on Sonic the Hedgehog being one of the few good series by IDW? I want to know the furry's point of view. The furry point of view is that the reason Sonic the Hedgehog is actually such a good series is because they listen to the fans. I think like if they didn't have the controversy and they didn't listen to the fans, they wouldn't get so many tickets sold. And the second thing is that they had Jim Carrey. Now Jim Carrey is an insufferable twat when it comes to politics, and you know, like his takes on the Twitter are like literally the same. Just talk with any Hollywood actor, and those are Jim Carrey's takes as well. He even takes it to the extremes most of the time, but he's a good actor. You know, he makes people laugh. He played a good Robotnik, and the jokes landed. I mean, they managed, and I think like this is the reason that Sonic was successful, is because they actually managed to maintain the spirit of what Sonic the Hedgehog is supposed to be. And it's supposed to be this lighthearted story with comedy aspects that's serviceable to teenagers. And I think they made all of those, like all of those check marks. Check, 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 check. And the fact that they also listen to the consumer, which is just astonishing in 2020, goes to tell you. Jim Carrey, yeah, like talking about his takes. I remember when the company decided to redraw Sonic and make him more likable, as the fans required. Yeah, Jim Carrey was upset about that. He was like, "Oh yeah, you should have listened to the fans. You should have listened to the voices on the internet. Blah 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 blah." And then when it ended up being a commercial success, he was like, "Ah, I told you that they made the right decision and the right call." It's like, motherfucker. If I was making This Week is Stupid Dead, I would show like when he complained about it and when he was praising it. It's like, you can't do that. You can't do that. It's like, once you're against it, then don't say that you're for it. Gazebo de Clean Sestertius. So it's kind of weird because AdSense still didn't kick in. I'm wondering if they're waiting to pay people until December is out. Because I understand that, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I think like once they ban you, they demonetize you, they don't give you the money, even if they owe you some cash. So maybe this is why. And I desperately need the cash right now because I have debts to pay. Man, I'm thinking like how much debt I have is unreal. Like I have to pay, so in 2021 I have to pay the taxes for 2020. Then I have to pay for the furniture in my house, and then there's like the bank loans and whatnot, and it adds up. It adds up. I'm like if I don't get monetized, I will hit all of the points on time. If not, it's going to be a little bit difficult for me for a couple of months. Like if I manage to get to the point where I only pay the bank loan, then I'm fine. Selling bathwater should not be allowed to be a lucrative business. Tactical droid, it's every single time the government intervenes in the economy, you end up with worse things. Like I remember when there was this country, I think it was Taiwan, I might be mistaken, but like there was this country that had child sweatshops. And the child sweatshops, like the government stepped in and said, children shouldn't work in sweatshops. Something that most people agree, obviously. And after they banned it, they had the worst case of child prostitution in that nation. And it goes to show, it's like, I don't trust the government. I don't think there is a single thing that the government does properly, except the military. And every time the government gets involved in something, you end up, like, let me show you something, right? Like, this is probably what I'm going to talk about tomorrow. But this is what I like to call trickle-down welfare. This is what happens when the government gets involved. Go Between paid $21 billion in taxpayer funds for NHS. So, like, this guy managed to procure protective garments for the NHS staff and was paid 20 billion pounds. Like, this is trickle-down welfare. Like, taxpayer money goes to the government. And then the government wastes 28 million pounds in order to secure protective gear. Like, you are willing to tell me that you could not secure protective gear for less. Like, this is the middleman. Like, he's not the one that's manufacturing the gear. It's just like so much money wasted by the middle people of the bureaucracy machine. It's not even funny. And I guess like the reason that you have BBC News talking about it is because because of Corona, they're paying a little bit more attention to what's going on. But like, come the fuck on, man. Like, this is wasted cash money. This is why I hate the government. I really do. Like, the idea of free healthcare that's not free, I never understand it. It's like, why do you need the middleman to pay for your own health? You can always rely on the government to destroy something. Yes, I absolutely agree. Some sympathy shekels for the expense. Thank you, Rafman. I really appreciate that. Trump gave tax cuts to the rich. Okay, Trump actually has a platform very similar to Bernie. And he did not give tax cuts just to the rich. In fact, you're going to notice that chances are your taxes are going to rise by next year, because Trump's tax cuts are going to not be renewed. So if Biden doesn't renew them, which is what he probably is going to do, you're going to see that the taxes are going to go up for most people. Let me just show you something else, if I can find it, because this was an interesting article where the Democrats were congratulating Congress for creating the opinion that people's taxes didn't go down. Let's see if I can find it. I saved it. It was for This Week in Stupid, but I decided not to edit. I have to cut a lot of things from This Week in Stupid. Yeah, I don't know where I saved it. I'll probably show it. But it was like people congratulating. Oh yeah, I think I did. I found it. All right, hold on. I'll show it. Let me just. All right, look at this. Look here, you bigot. This is the reality you live in. Nobody likes to give themselves credit for this kind of messaging success, but progressive groups did a really good job of convincing people that Trump raised their taxes when the fact says a clear majority got a tax cut. Just 17% of Americans thinks their taxes were cut. So, like this is from April the 8th. But it's absolutely fucking hilarious, isn't it? I'm telling you what the left hates the most, and I'm not talking about your average leftist. I'm talking about the academics and the elites. What they hate the most is the populist left and the populist right uniting forces. Um, because there's a lot of discontent, and the way they channel the discontent right now is through corporate socialism, which is the type of socialism that doesn't really fight against the 1%. They just claim they do. But it's like, like, oh, look, here's a Bernie Sanders. Don't you like him? Yay, you love Bernie Sanders, don't you? Well, tough shit. He's not the one that wins. You're going to vote for this candidate, which is the corporate candidate, and you're going to suck it, don't you, little bitch? That's pretty much how politics are in America. And they're not going to allow another Bernie Sanders to ever get into office. You're going to see a purge happening with the squad after the Democrats manage to, get a little bit stabilized after the election. I think Ilhan Omar is going to go away. And look, Kelly Miller, you're going to see if I'm wrong or not, but you're going to have, instead of Ilhan Omar, you're going to have the Democratic Party funding another person from her district, also a Muslim, but I'm willing to think it's going to be a guy, and he is going to be more in line with the business Democrats, like he's going to annoy them a little bit less. And the reason he's going to get the vote is because the Democrats know that the religious people are going to vote for a man rather than a woman. The people that aren't that progressive. We'll see. We'll see if I'm wrong. But I personally think, the Democrats talking about, oh, sexism bad and blah, 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 they're going to use this against Ilhan Omar. They don't like the squad. Nancy Pelosi doesn't like the squad, and Nancy Pelosi is the one calling the shots. Even if she's not going to be in power anymore as the Speaker of the House, people like her are the ones that are the real power in the Democrats. You have the Hillary Clintons and the Bidens and, the Bushes. The Bushes are conservative, but they're still what people like to consider neocons. They're still part of the establishment, so. I have to learn coding because I don't know what the fuck else I can do for work in this economy. And meanwhile, some knobhead is making millions selling her bathwater. Tactical Droid, I guarantee to you, if you are a woman, okay, if you had Kelly Miller's body, you still wouldn't be making millions of dollars. Take into account that there are men who, do weightlifting or who manage to appear in commercials and they do millions of dollars and they don't learn to code. There's a lot of men. You can be born in a wealthy family. You could be the Hunter Biden and you can make millions of dollars without learning to code. This idea that you need to be jealous because a woman uses her tits in order to make money is ridiculous to me. Even in socialism or capitalism or whatever system you desire, the people who are connected to the elites, the people that are the sons or daughters of the families in government, they make millions of dollars and they don't know how to code. I didn't call Kelly ugly. Alright? I just said that if you had a beautiful body like Kelly Miller, you wouldn't make any sense selling bathwater. And I'll tell you why. It's not. Here's the thing, there's a lot of women that have beautiful bodies out there, and there's a lot of women with beautiful bodies that try to make it on Twitch or YouTube, and they fail. They fail because right now, if you had the perfect bod, if you were the perfect woman, Tactical Droid, the competition is huge. You would need not only to have luck and manage to catch a specific wave, but you would also need to know how to do proper makeup, which is something that I doubt you know how to do. Groom yourself, which again as a coder is something that I doubt you know how to do. You would have to put in 8 hours a day at least of effort. Imagine having to take the same duck face picture for 3 hours until you get it right. And be like, to go in front of the camera and be like, hold on. And you have to do this shit for fucking hours until you actually get it right. And not only that, right? After you get all of that done, Then you have to compete with all of the other ladies, and you also need a personality in order to attract audience. Like, it's not that easy. Yeah, it's branding. It's literally branding, which is why I would definitely hire these ladies for my company in order to do any type of promotion. Like, if I were to market my channel, I would hire Belle Delphine in order to do it. She would probably give me thousands of subscribers overnight. It's true. Remember the selfish shit. Man, like, I'm looking at my girlfriend. Do you know how many pictures she takes until she gets the right one? Like, she needs to find the correct angle, the correct lighting, the correct makeup, the correct this, the correct that. It's just like, do you know how you can terrorize a woman? Like, I will tell you this. I will tell you how you can terrorize a woman. You bring this device and you put it in front of her. Like, if she's not wearing makeup, if she's not dressed the way she wants, if her hair isn't properly, she goes like a vampire that you would raise a cross against. And they're like, ah, you know, like, get it away. Seriously, like, this is how you can scare the lady. Like, this would be a horror movie for the women. You know, you take them to a cinema, and then the screen goes dark, and when it turns bright, it shows a camera pointed at them. And you will see all the women and the screen like, ah! I never understand how that is, but yeah. Oh, you groom yourself to perfection daily. Then you're not going to be a good coder. Like, I'm sorry. You either are a coder or you groom yourself. You can't choose both. Yeah. Kelly, am I right? Like, are you afraid of the camera, Kelly? How many? No, like, okay. Let's see if I'm right or not. If you're a lady, alright, if you're a woman or a man with a uterus, I'm not going to discriminate. Press 1 in the chat. I want to see how many members of the opposite sex are listening to me right now. Usually I get like 3 or 4. Let's see if that's the case, because it's like 10% of the audience. So 456 people watching. You know, what is 10% of that? Like, what, 5 or 6? Let's see if, sorry, not 5 or 6, Jesus. 10% would be 60. Yeah. Let's see if I'm wrong or not. All right, we got the alcoholic apologist, Danielle. I mean, Danielle sounds like a lady name. Okay, we got the trans conservative wife. All right, we got a couple of ladies. Am I wrong? Like, does this device, when you're unprepared, when the reagents aren't being placed, does it scare you? You know, does it scare you or not when you see this being aimed towards you in a mischievous manner from all of a sudden? Like, you're not expecting it. You're minding your daily business. Maybe you're at home eating some ravioli, and all of a sudden someone points this towards you. I've yet to meet the lady that doesn't react in shock and all. Hey, look, I chose to be a doctor, not a mathematician. You know, like, this is what really annoyed me. Like every single, yeah, look. I hate cameras. I hate taking. How do I know this? You know, like, I don't need a study. This is something else that I noticed with leftists nowadays. Like, they did a study for everything. They did a study to tell them that the grass is green and that the sky is blue. Like, you know, some things are just common sense. Look, another woman, she ducks if she is not prepared. Another woman says that she is ugly, she avoids cameras. Kelly Miller, cameras are really fun. How do I know this, Kelly? I don't have a study. Like, if someone, you know, if I were to have a conversation, like, oh, do you have a study for this? No. You know what I have? Life experience, Kelly. Life experience beats study. Life experience demolishes the study. People who say they don't mind being filmed are lying. I literally don't give a shit about being filmed. I mean, yeah, you can tell this. Probably because of the nature of my work, but at the same time, like, there have been videos where I just wake up from the bed, go in, hit record, and, like, don't even do my hair properly. Debate Vosh on studies. What is there to debate, Kelly? You know, like, when you show me a study that I've seen from The Guardian, that teenage boys, let me see if I remember. Yeah, teenage boys find tits in video games boring. And I'm like, okay, who did you do this study on? The castrati? Like, obviously, this was a study that fit with the narrative. But even if you were to show me that a guy in a lab coat finds this to be the case, like if it actually contradicts my life, my lived experiences, I'm not going to give a shit. Like I trust my lived experience more than whatever a scientist is going to say. This is another example I used to have back in the day. Was talking with this guy from IT. He knew how to code. And he was telling me that he would like to work from home. And I told him, look, man, if you work from home, you are going to hate it. You are not the type of person that can have a strict schedule, and you live with your family. You are not going to be able to work from home. And the guy shows me a study, and it's like, oh, look, happiness increases when people work from home, blah, blah, blah. Turns out that now he is working from home, and he is fucking miserable. And you know what pisses me off about these people? They never come here. And they never tell me, it's like, you know what, you are right. Like, how the fuck did you do it? How did you know that despite me showing you the study, I cannot, I will not be able to work from home? And the reason is that the studies that showed people working from home were done, I believe, for a couple of months. Like, the people who were allowed to work from home were 2-3 months. It's been more than 5 months when he is working from home, right? Like, the studies didn't account for that. So there's a lot of time when, even though the study says something, the way people interpret it is incorrect, right? Because yeah, maybe you can have an increase in happiness if you work from home for like 1 or 2 months. But after you work for more than that, I think what really ends up happening, and this is just for some people, other people love working from home. I personally love working from home. But I know some people that literally despise it, because when you go to work, you associate that building, that environment with the job. When you work from home, then you associate the home with the job. It's like having a really good song that you love, and you put it on your phone to wake you up like an alarm. You're going to hate that song after a couple of weeks. Even though like you're thinking, oh, I'm going to wake up on my favorite song and blah blah blah. But like as you're waking up and your brain starts associating the song with the fact that you're waking up, you're going to despise it. And then there's people that literally cannot make up a schedule. So, for example, it's going to be hard for them to do the deadlines, because when they're working from home, like they lose sleep at night. They don't go to bed at the same hour, because they think, oh, well, I don't have to wake at 7 a.m. tomorrow and blah, blah, blah. And then you also have the family. And the family is like, I believe, the worst thing when it comes to distraction, because there are family members that do not understand that if you're at the PC, you're actually working. So they will bother you. Like they will just nonchalantly enter the room and just talk to you. And it's like, dude, I'm working. And they can't get that, or they make you do chores, because it's like, oh, well, I go to the office and you stay at home, like you do the house chores. And it's like, dude, I'm also working, Have a room designated for work. I guess that can work, but like, and there's another problem, like there was this study that came out, article in the paper showing like a big chunk, I think it was like 70% of the people at Silicon Valley are getting burned out. And the reason they're getting burned out is because when you're working from home and you got nothing to do, well, why not just pitch in a couple of extra hours? Why not just, do your job from the computer a little bit more? And yeah, I believe they're getting burned out because they're constantly having to perform that activity. Gotta go. Keep Kelly around. Great mod. Why, thank you, Nero. Working for home sucks so nice, huh? Granny is understanding when I have online classes. Oh my god, the stuff that I have seen with online classes, like there's this video on Twitter, and I can't show it on YouTube, but like on Twitter it's okay, because Twitter allows nudity for some reason. But there was like this teacher, I believe, and there's like 4 kids on the screen. No, sorry, there's 6 kids on the screen, right? So you have like the first 3 on top and then 3 on the bottom, and one of the kids fell asleep. So the teacher, is like trying to wake the kid up, And as she's going like, "Hey, Billy, wake up! What are you doing?" Another kid from the ground like has this naked woman like literally entering his room. I assume it was her mother in order to, I guess, like do laundry, and she's just like completely butt naked in the camera, just walking there to the laundry, and I'm like wondering, it's like, what the fuck, you know? But like, these are just the things that are being streamed. So yeah, I just know, like, when it comes to when it comes to this, it's a lot of the things are better left unsaid. How do you get a girlfriend when all of the cafes and how do you get a girlfriend during a pandemic when every bar and cafe is closed? Yeah, good question, City of Figs. And Kelly Miller, this is a question for you. How do you get a girlfriend when everything is closed now? Um, I believe, yeah, no. Like, to me, when I was poor, I could never date during the winter. It was very difficult. Like, if you didn't have a girlfriend by winter time, man, you are kind of screwed. I could hardly wait for spring. Like during spring, I was a little bit too aggressive, to into hunter mode, hunter modo. Because the problem is, in Romania, like there's minus 20 degrees outside during the winter. So if you wanted to go out with a girl, you had to take her to a bar or someplace, right? And if you took her to a bar, you had to spend money, not for her, but at least to buy your own drink. So it was very difficult to go out. But yeah, like now during a pandemic and winter, I don't know. I mean, I guess online dating, you talk with her online and then you ask her to your place. I mean, in a way that this might actually be better, because like here's the thing, right? If you like a girl and you talk with her, let's say on Facebook or whatever, because it's a pandemic, you can actually ask her to your place because like everything else is closed. So you just ask her, hey, why don't you come to my place? And you can say, normally I wouldn't do this, on a first date because but like, can you come to my place? Because I mean, come on, obviously everything is closed. Like we can just hang out and chill. Like nothing's gonna happen. Blah blah blah. So yeah, I mean, no, I think it's actually better during a pandemic, because you can come up with the excuse. It's like, well, everything is closed. Just come to my place. Now the problem would be if you're living with your parents. If you're living with your parents and she's living with her parents, then you're fucked. Then there really isn't any alternative. That's pretty forward. Well, you need to understand Thought Sponge, and this is something that I learned about forwardness. Most women actually appreciate forwardness, because here's the thing, like, they know why you're talking to them. Women aren't dumb. If they notice a guy they never met, or some random guy they only spoke a little bit, talking to them on Facebook, they know exactly what you're after. And they appreciate forwardness. Like, they don't like beating around the bush that much. And believe it, like, when I was a little bit more like trying to beat around the bush and pretend I wasn't interested when I really was, I was getting a lot of negative responses. Then when you actually tell a girl, it's like, hey, I like you, like we've been talking for a while, and I think we're going on really well. Let's meet up. They and if the girl asks like, hey, do you want to get in my pants? I will say like, no, clearly I'm a castrated individual and I would never. Like you can play it like that, but just ask any adult. Like they will tell you that women do like when you're more straightforward. Now it doesn't mean you have to be rude, or it doesn't mean you have to be vulgar. But like she knows why you're talking with her, right? Like she is very aware that the reason you initiated conversation is because you want to get on with her. So pretending that that's not the case makes you a liar and is going to get her to lose attention. Have you considered selling blood plasma? I actually can't sell blood plasma in Romania. They don't sell it. You can donate it for free though. Kelly is the exception. I don't think Kelly is the exception. Let me see. Kelly, do you prefer guys that are straightforward or do you prefer guys that beat around the bush? Giving the bootleg version of Vosh's advice, for instance. Good advice. I don't even know what Vosh's advice for incels is, but I will tell you how I dated, okay? In fact, I will tell you how I met my fiance. It's very simple. Go on Facebook and join a group that you're actually interested in, alright? Like, don't fake interest. Like, it has to be something that you're interested. So, for example, if you like pets, you know, there are groups that talk about the cats in your city. If you happen to like anime, there must be a group with people that like anime. Okay? Join your university group. Like, join some group that legitimately and you actually care about. You know, heavy metal, goth, doesn't matter. Just join that group. And then in that group, you know, you look at the people that are in there and look at the ladies. Alright? Find the girl you like. Look at what she likes. And genuinely be interested in it. Like, if you find a girl that looks attractive, most importantly, she's single. Like, don't harass women that have a boyfriend. It just doesn't make any sense. Alright? And find out, like, okay, so maybe she listens to some music that you like, or maybe she plays some video games that you like, or maybe you have something in common. Then talk to her. Just message her and say, hey, I noticed you like this, I also like. You will be surprised that if you message like 4 or 5 girls, usually 2 or 3 will actually talk with you. Because they're getting bored as well. You know, like most of these ladies probably spend a lot of time on Facebook. They're bored. So when you talk with them, they talk back. And if it happens that you actually get a connection, that you actually do happen to like each other, ask her out. And again, like, if you ask 5 or 6, 1 or 2 will say yes. You literally have nothing to lose. It's just like words on your screen. That there's nothing wrong. You know, and if a girl says she's not interested, then, you know, just say, well, you know, I'm sorry to hear that, and leave her alone. I mean, I don't understand how people cannot have girlfriends with Facebook. Like, the opportunity is there. Don't go on these dating apps, okay? Don't go on OkCupid. Don't go on Tinder. They're a waste of time. Most of the girls there, they treat women, they treat men like a product. They treat men like, you know, they're into the grocery store and they're just flicking left and right based on. Just don't waste time with that shit. Right? Like, on Tinder, you don't even know that much about the other person in order to start a meaningful conversation. Because that's what matters. Starting a meaningful conversation. And at the same time, like, if you see a girl that's smoking hot, and she's got, like, those big titties, and she's got, like, the perfect body and whatnot, but when you look at what she likes, you can't find a single thing that you have in common, don't bother with that. Because it's not going to work. Like, if you don't have anything that is remotely connecting you and remotely capable of sparking a conversation, she's not going to be interested in you because you're going to bore her. And honestly, most of the time, she's probably going to bore you as well. My advice is outdated. Here in the West, women are so over-empowered, fornication dolls are superior. No, man, I don't think so. I think it works everywhere. OkCupid worked well for me. I mean, I never managed to have a meaningful relationship using a dating app, okay? Maybe a one-night stand, sure. Like, that's something that can happen, but to actually get in a relationship that I would spend with a girl for more than a couple of months with a dating app, it never happened. I joined the math Facebook group, and it was mostly Indian students with broken English wanting you to do their homework for free. Well, oof, Samurai Squirrel, I never had that experience. I use Facebook when I remember a school person who existed that I want to talk to again. Yeah, I mean, that's something else you can do. You know, like, I actually had a relationship like that. I tried to think about girls that I used to like from high school and girls that I used to like from the first 4 grades, you know? And I wanted to see, it's like, oh, you know, I remember this girl from 3rd grade. I wonder how she looks now after 20 years. And yeah, some of them were cute. I even talked with them and said, hey, you know, like, I was just going around to see old colleagues of ours, and I remember about you, and you know, I remember that thing we did, and blah 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 blah. Yeah, I mean, you can have like pleasant moments by talking to people like that. And by the way, like, make sure you have a decent profile as well. And by decent profile, it means 2 things. Like, number 1, don't be a creep. Don't have strong political opinions on anything. Try to have some pictures with you in a suit. Try to have like some life aspirations, like you want to be an engineer, a lawyer, or some shit, assuming that that's what you actually want to do. And by the way, like this is very hot for women for some reason. Like you know how guys find that women with big tits are hot. Apparently, what women like are guys that are dressed in a career uniform. So, for example, if you're dressed like a soldier, that's going to turn heads. If you're dressed like, you know, a guy in a suit, like a lawyer, or you know, like pretty much like a police officer, firefighter, like just you know, like be dressed like your profession. You know, whatever it is you're doing, like if you're dressed professionally, unless you have a profession where like a waiter or something. But I think even a waiter, like even if you're a waiter and you're actually dressed the part so you look like an actual excellent waiter, like you look at, even though you have a profession that's not very prestigious according to the bourgeoisie class, if you look the part and you're like the top of your profession, you look like you climbed up the ranks in your profession, you're going to attract people with that. Steve Cotter, he's not lying though. Why the fuck would I be lying? Rosal made us watch weird anime. What did I miss? What happened to the super thought? Oh, by the way, her OnlyFans isn't half bad. I heard from a friend. I never watched her OnlyFans though. Cops are objectively hot. I'm sorry. Like, look, again, like I don't have any study. I'm not the one bringing studies or anything. I'm just talking about life experience. Like I'm telling you shit that worked for me, and I assume will work for you. And all the ladies in the chat are like, yeah, he's right. And then I see the insults in the chat. It's like, oh no, V, you're talking foolishness, talking foolishness. No, but it's true. It is true. What else do women like? They basically like if you have like the biggest advantages you can have in dating is having your own house. It doesn't matter if you rent or but basically not stay with your parents. Like that's the most important thing, you know? Do not stay with your parents. If you stay with your parents, it's difficult to have the possibility to call her over. And having a car also matters, but like you can actually just not have a car. It depends, right? Like it's a bonus, but it's not necessary. Yeah, well dressed with family. Yeah, that works as well. A picture with your mother. A lot of women care about how you treat your mother. Like for some reason, this is very important. If you don't have a mother, just go to a restaurant and find some old woman sitting alone and you can take a picture with that. But a lot of women assume that if you treat your mother poorly, you're going to treat them poorly. And women don't want that, right? So it's very important to have a good relationship with your mom. And every single time... And by the way, like take this from me. When you're dating and you're like during the first 2 dates or so, never ever talk poorly about any woman. At all. Like there's no need to. Okay? Do not talk poorly about your exes. Do not talk poorly about your mom. Do not talk poorly about your sister. Just like avoid the conversation. If you have nothing good to say, like let's say you have been cursed with an alcoholic ex-girlfriend that took your house, took your mortgage, took your kids. You know, you're very jaded. Do not talk anything bad about her during the first 2 dates. If you're being asked about your ex-girlfriend, like what you can say is that, you know, you broke up with her on mutual terms and it was best for the both of you, but you don't like to get into private details. Because here's what a lot of girls do, right? They assume that if you're going to talk about your ex, then they think that you might talk about them as well, right? Like they don't feel that they can be comfortable doing intimate stuff with you because you're a loudmouth. And if you talk about your exes, then you're going to talk about her, and one of her friends might hear that shit from you, and then she is going to look bad next to her friends. So never, ever discuss negative things in the first couple of relations. Now, if you manage to fool a woman to be in love with you and spend more than a month or two, then you can talk all the stuff you want. But in the beginning, just try to avoid it. So with COVID being used as a budget against many and seemingly bought hook, line, and sinker by most Europe, what are past trends you see returning? Past trends. I actually don't see any past trends, to be honest. Not a single past trend. I mean, maybe there are, but I don't see them. Uh, or they're worried you're rebounding. Yeah, that's another thing. Not interested in girlfriends. I am mid-20. The virgin living with your mom versus the Chad living with your granny. Oh God. I have a lot of respect for my grandmother. I did live the first 7 years of my life with her, so I know how it is. Ask her if she watches V. Don't ask stupid question like ask about exes from me if you don't want to hear the truth. I will speak if I'm asked. I don't care. Um, well, I guess you better have nice things to say, Kai. I hope you have nice. Well, like you can speak the truth and still talk about it, like frame it in a way that's nice, But again, like you don't have to lie. You can just say, I believe the relationship between two people needs to be kept confident, and I don't want to give details about my love life. I'm not a kiss and tell kind of guy. You're not lying if you say this, and you're showing respect towards your ex. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to talk about you with the stranger. Like that's pretty much it. Cause like if you're at your first dates, you don't know the person, so she's like a stranger to you just as much as you're a stranger to her. So, um, it's actually gentlemanish, not to not to talk and spill the beans and wash the laundry in public, like people like to say. I am getting a house before having a girlfriend. Well, good for you. I'm 25, never had a job, live with my mother, and still have a cute dominant girlfriend. I'm extremely lucky. Yeah, Matrix. I mean, there are the people that are like that. No, but seriously, like Kai, put yourself in her shoes, right? Imagine you're going out and you're with a girl for the first or the second date, and then she stops talking shit about her boyfriend. Like she talks, tells that she was with an asshole. He was abusive. He was this. He was that. He was, and she goes on and on and on. Is that something that would arouse you? Like, is that something that would get you more interested and wanting to spend more time with her? And not to mention, that's not even what most women hear. Like, when you're bad mouthing a woman, what they hear is that you're bad mouthing all women. Like, I don't know how that works, but like, whatever. Um, Imagine you're with a girl that goes like, all men are bad, all men are this, all men are that. It's not very attractive. Let's put it like that. Yeah. How dare they? Anyway, thank you guys for watching the stream. If you want to hear more about Belle Delphine, I'm going to upload a video on my secondary channel, so head on over to Lack of Entertainment. Thank you guys for the financial support and the donation.